Friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Medical Classes by Dr. Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel and also please give your valuable comments. You can also uh, look into the playlist. In the playlist, I have given all the topics so far we have discussed in a systematic order. For the convenience of the study, you can also look into this playlist which is given. Anyway, so today we will have a discussion on one of the very basic concept of Ayurveda, that is about the doshas. And doshas are the important bioactive elements which are present in the body, which are actually responsible for maintenance of the system, equilibrium of the system. Now we shall understand what actually these doshas are. Now, when we look into the definition of the doshas, Dushayanti, that means one which will going to vitiate himself, and also one which will going to vitiate the other, is called as dosha. That means if Vata, Pitta and Kapha are the three doshas which are present in the body, the doshas will going to vitiate themselves, and also these doshas will going to vitiate the dhatus, malas, shrotas, etc. However, in one of the very important book of Ayurveda, that is Madhavanidhana, in Madhukosha Tika, it is very clearly mentioned that how to understand the doshas. Dosha can be understood by its normal functions and as well as by means of its abnormal functions. For example, Prakriti Arambhatvat and Vikhara Utpattitvat. So these are the two hallmark of the doshas. Doshas are the one when they're present in the normal condition, they will going to maintain the normalcy of the body. And same doshas are also responsible for production of different types of disorders in the body. Vikhara Utpattitvat. So any entity which carries these two properties is called as dosha. That means one point at the one side, it should have a property of maintaining the normal equilibrium of the body, and on the other side it is also responsible for the production of the different types of disorders. In the same context, many Sushruta etc., even the Rakta is also considered as doshas, but otherwise the Rakta is not considered as dosha, although Sushruta mentioned it. But there are only three doshas in the body, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. But the question comes, why Rakta is not considered as dosha? So, then again we have to go back to these two important points. Rakta is not considered as dosha because Rakta Dushti Lakshanas can be observed, but there is no explanation of the normal functions of the Rakta doshas. See, to say anything as dosha, to anything, to name a label anything as dosha, we should have the normal functions and we should also have abnormal functions. In conditions of Rakta, in case of Rakta Dushti Lakshanas are well explained in Ayurveda, whereas normal functions of the Rakta dosha is not mentioned. And now you can ask the questions, no sir, the normal functions of the Rakta is also mentioned. Now, normal functions of the Rakta is mentioned in classics, but it is considered Rakta as a Dhatu. It is the normal functions which are mentioned there, it is the normal functions of Rakta Dhatu. It is not the normal functions of Rakta Dosha. So, therefore, it will not fulfill this criteria. Hence, Rakta is not considered as Dosha. There are only three doshas. Another important aspect to say what is dosha. One which is independently produced the disease is called as dosha. Swatantra Vikara Utpatti Bhavaha. Swatantra Vikara Utpatti Bhava iti dosha. That means it has to produce the doshas, it has to produce the disorders independently. It has got its own potency. so that its vitiation will going to cause the disease. Now again, when you come back to this definition or explanation, this explanation is also not acceptable because Vata etc. doshas are not actually independent. We say that usually Vata etc. doshas are independent, and this definition also says the same thing. One which is independently able to produce one particular disease, it is called as doshas. Swatantra vikara utpatti bhavaha. But this explanation is also not acceptable because Vata the etc. doshas, they are not actually independent. So what is the meaning of this? They are not actually independent. Why? Because these Vatadi doshas in the bodies are also produced from Aharadi, the food which is we are taking from the outside. So that is actually producing the doshas inside the body. So the how we can say that these Vatadi doshas are independent? No, they are also dependent on aharas. Depending upon the type of the ahara that you take, the different types of doshas will going to be produced in the body. When these aharas are undergoing the digestion, we come across three important pakas: Madhura Avasthapaka, Amla Avasthapaka, and as well as Katu Avasthapaka. So this is how the ahara is producing the doshas. The food which is taken from the outside, the Madhura portion which is present in that food, when it is undergoing Madhura Avasthapaka, there is a production of Kapha dosha in the body, or there is enrichment of the Kapha dosha in the body, or poshana of Kapha dosha in the body. When it is going through the Amla Paka, Pitta Machamudidiyate, there is production of the Pitta in the body. Pitta dosha in the body, or Pitta dosha is get nourished in the body. Similarly, Pakvashyantu Praptasya, so Vayusyat Katu Bhavataha. So there is production of Vata when it is going Katu Avasthapaka. So therefore, doshas are also not independent. Doshas are also dependent on the Aharadi. Further, another important thing is, if you say that one which is independent or one which is independently able to produce a dosha, that itself is called as dosha. One which is independently able to produce a disease, that itself is called as dosha. Again, one more problem comes because Pitta Pangu, Kapha Pangu, Pangavo Maladatavaha. See, Kapha and Pitta actually they are not at all independent because for their movement also they depends on the Vayu. So when they depends themselves on Vayu, so how we can call it as independent? Okay, because their function is possible or their movement is possible only because of Vata. So this definition is also now not complete one. Okay, so these are some of the important aspects related to the doshas. Basically, we say doshas are present in the body. They are maintaining our equilibrium. They are responsible for homeostasis. Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the three important doshas. And one which is able to vitiate himself and also vitiate other is called as dosha. And the two important aspects which helps to identify the dosha is normal functions and abnormal functions. And these are some of the analysis of the definition of the doshas. Although doshas are more functional rather than structural. Okay, so we are assessing the doshas in the body by looking at the functions, not at the structures. But still, as an Ayurvedic scholar, we should have this particular analysis before coming to any conclusion on the doshas, because understanding this point is helpful to understand the concept of Ayurveda when you look into the treatment in many conditions. That we will see in some other classes. Okay, this is a short discussion about the definition of the doshas and how to understand it. Thank you very much.